Welcome back to our channel, where today we will be sharing with you an amazing story of a woman who did not give up on her dreams even after suffering from such a great tragedy in her life. Our today's hero is a young woman who lost both of her legs, but still managed to follow her dream of becoming a firefighter. The incident happened when the girl was only 20 years old. She was at a rock concert with her friends, and all of a sudden, there was an explosion. When she regained consciousness, she saw that her legs were gone. As a result of the explosion, doctors had to amputate them. First, she could not accept the reality that she would live the rest of her life without legs. However, she soon realized that she needed to move on if she wanted to continue living a normal life. And so she started going to rehabilitation and learned how to walk again, this time with prosthetics. When she mastered walking with her new limbs, she decided it was time for her to try something new. And that's when she went to see the firefighters and told them about her desire to become one of them. At first, they were very surprised by her request, because no one had ever asked to join their team before. They also thought that she would not be able to keep up with the physical demands of the job. However, they agreed to give her a chance. After several months of training, she was finally able to pass the test and officially became a firefighter. Soon enough, she proved herself to be an invaluable member of the team. Everyone praised her dedication and hard work. And as time passed, her name began to appear more and more often in the local newspaper. She was interviewed several times, and people around the city started calling her the heroine firefighter. In this video, we will tell you how she managed to achieve everything despite being disabled. So stay tuned till the end to find out more. The explosion. Stephanie was born in 1984 in a small town in Colorado. She was an ordinary girl who dreamed of becoming a police officer or a firefighter. Her parents loved her very much and tried to support her in everything. Unfortunately, the family lived paycheck to paycheck, so they couldn't send their daughter to college. But this didn't stop Stephanie.
After school, she got a job at a local supermarket and started saving money for her future education.
In 2003, when Stephanie turned 19, she met a guy named Danny. He was the lead singer of a local rock band and often invited her to their concerts. One evening, Stephanie and her best friend Jessica decided to go to a rock concert in Denver. It was supposed to be just another regular show, but fate had other plans. When Stephanie arrived at the concert venue, she noticed a large crowd of people and loud music coming from inside the building. The show was almost sold out, so she and her friend had to stand in the very center of the audience. Suddenly, she felt a strong push from behind and found herself in the middle of a mosh pit. Although she was scared, the girl decided to enjoy the moment and have fun. That's where she lost track of time and everything around her. And then it happened. It was a loud explosion, and everything went black. When Stephanie came to her senses, she realized that she was lying on the floor, and there were many people around her screaming and trying to help. She tried to move, but then she saw that she had no legs. The girl started screaming too, and that's when she noticed that there were no lower legs below her knees. She was taken to the hospital right away, but the doctors failed to save the girl's limbs. They had to amputate them. New life, of course. Stephanie was devastated. How could she live on without her legs? What would her life be like now? The girl was only 20 years old, and she had so many plans and dreams. She was supposed to start college soon and travel around the world. Now all those hopes and aspirations seemed to be shattered. But the girl's mother, Cheryl, was determined to help her daughter cope with the tragedy. She spent all her free time with Stephanie, talked to her, and tried to cheer her up. The woman understood how painful it was for her child to lose both her legs. But she knew that sooner or later, Stephanie would have to come to terms with the new reality. Therefore, Cheryl encouraged her daughter to take the first step towards recovery. At first, Stephanie could not accept what had happened to her. She spent most of her time crying and asking God why he had chosen her. But then she realized that nothing had changed except her attitude towards life. From that moment on, Stephanie promised herself to move on. She went to rehabilitation and learned how to walk again. It wasn't easy because it took her a long time to get used to the prosthetics. But the girl did not give up. She was eager to return to her previous life. The desire to become a firefighter, not only Stephanie's mother supported her, but also her boyfriend, Danny. He never left the girl alone with her problems. On the contrary, he always tried to help her in every possible way. One day, Danny came up with the idea to visit the fire station. Perhaps firefighters could somehow help Stephanie adjust to her new life. No one at the station had ever dealt with a disabled person before, so they were very surprised by the unexpected guests. Nevertheless, they welcomed them warmly and offered to spend some time talking. To everyone's surprise, it was Stephanie who initiated the conversation and asked if she could join the team. She explained that she had always dreamed of becoming a firefighter, but because of her disability, she never thought it was possible. The man listened attentively to her and then said that they would think about it and give her an answer soon. Of course, Stephanie understood that it would be difficult to convince the management to hire her. However, she did not give up. Every day she came to the station and helped the firefighters do their work. She showed them how much she had improved and how well she could handle the situation. In addition, the girl reminded them that she had an innate sense of responsibility and diligence, so she would make an excellent firefighter. A few weeks later, Stephanie was called to the principal's office. He told her that they had discussed her offer and decided to give her a chance. Stephanie was overjoyed. She thanked the firefighters for their support and promised to prove that she deserved to be among them. The training was long and exhausting. Stephanie had to learn how to extinguish fires, save people, and perform other tasks. At first it was very difficult for her, but then she got the hang of it. The girl quickly learned how to use all the equipment and even managed to surprise everyone with her speed and efficiency. Her colleagues were amazed at how well she was doing. However, there were also people who were against Stephanie's presence on the team. They claimed that she was a burden to the group and that her disability prevented her from working effectively. But the girl did not listen to the critics. Instead, she continued to train and improve her skills. One day, Stephanie had to pass a test that would determine whether she was ready to become a firefighter. This was the last stage before she was officially accepted onto the team. She was given a scenario in which she had to rescue a person from a burning building. At first, everything went according to plan. The girl quickly found the victim and began to carry him out. But then she tripped over the threshold and fell down the stairs. Fortunately, she managed to hold on to the man and together they managed to get out. Despite the successful outcome, Stephanie knew that she had made a mistake. She should have been more careful. After the exercise, the chief called her aside and explained that, although she had completed the task, she had done it at her own risk. Moreover, she endangered the life of the rescued person. The girl apologized for what had happened and promised to be more careful in the future. The chief nodded his head in response and let her go. She had to wait for the results of the test and hope that everything would work out. A few days later, he called Stephanie again. This time he gave her good news. Despite the flaws, he was impressed with her work and officially offered her the position of firefighter. He admitted that he had never seen anyone as hardworking and dedicated as her. Heroine. After Stephanie was accepted onto the team, she proved herself to be an invaluable employee. She put out fires, saved people, and even managed to prevent a few accidents. Her colleagues were proud to work with her, and the townspeople admired her courage. As time passed, Stephanie became a real local legend. People started writing about her in the newspapers and inviting her to various shows. Once she was even interviewed on national television. Moreover, her story inspired thousands of people around the country. Many women who had previously believed that they could not do anything without their legs now doubted their own strength. Today, Stephanie continues to work as a firefighter. She lives in the same city with her husband and 2 children. The girl never gives up and always helps those in need. She is a true hero who deserves our respect and admiration. Friends, how do you feel about the girl's choice of profession? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. And that's all for today. Rate the video and see you soon.